Here is your half an hour how to design employee experience crash course. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and take notes, girl, because I am going to give you everything that you need. I'm Sylvia, an organizational psychologist, and last year I have written hundreds of articles which resonated with the global population, and I thought, why don't I just bring these topics to the YouTube community, because now everybody likes to read. And today, so I talk about a lot of HR stuff, basically everything related to people management. And this is my craft, this is what I have been doing. And last year, I spent the whole year working on a project very quietly with few of my partners who are in employee well-being, employee wellness, and other parts of human resources, trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with organizations, because things are just not working. The system is broken, and we are trying to fix the people, which has been confirmed by Oxford University studies that came out, published on the 10th of January, and I had made a video previously about it, so go back to it. You will find it. HR is broken. So last year I was working on it. I'm like, how can we fix organizations? Because I knew deep down is not the people we need to start fixing, but the system. And before that, I wrote, where it all started, I need to fill you in on that. So I wrote a book. Last year I published, exactly a year ago, I published this, The Corporate Kindergarten. And in this, I explained, I introduced you to the psychological concept of infantilization and how we treat employees really in the workplace that has negative impact on their social aspect of their lives, their mental, physical, and all the psycho aspect that revolves around keeping employees in staff accommodation here in the GCC and all other areas. Basically, treating people like children doesn't benefit anyone, okay? So this was the beginning. And then I kept writing, and I wrote, and I said, I am going to write one article every single day for a year. And this 365 articles will be combined into one book. But why did I write these articles? Because that's the way I think. And I had to figure out what is wrong with us, because we don't know. So during this time, me writing and contradicting myself, contradicting others, questioning everything that I believe and done and, thought to be right, led me to designing and testing out on 5 companies. So thank you for the 5 companies who took part in it last year. Designing an employee experience design framework that helps organizations to redesign their practices. So stop fixing the employees. We'll get there later on if they still need a little bit of guidance, not fixing. But how can we look at people's experiences and what are the policies, procedures, etc. that are impacting those experiences? Because your employees' experiences are in the details of what you do. Okay? Now, probably some of you already know, I am from the hospitality industry. And who is better than us in terms of designing guest experiences? Nobody. We are the best. So this is the principle I use. So I took how to design guest experience. I've been doing it for 19 years. And I took the same principle when I looked at the employee's life cycle from attracting all the way to exit. And I broke it down into several areas, 7 pillars, and loads of questions. And I developed the toolkit and I developed the framework, how organization can design the employee experiences. Now, just a little note on this. Employee experience, you started to probably hear the term employee experience, head of employee experience manager, etc., etc. Framework, steps. model. Now the term is very, very new, and you will hear a lot of variation of it. There is no right or wrong. We haven't actually figured out yet what that role entails. What is employee experience? So if I say something different than what you heard, it doesn't mean that the person is wrong, I am wrong, he is right, I am right, nobody is, because there's no definition, and that's the good thing, because let's not overcomplicate it. Employee experience, your employees' experiences. We don't need to have Oxford University issuing a study on it. So this is where we are today, and where I have done the toolkit. We have done the work, and now the next step is to start spreading the news, because we know that is not the people who are broken, but the system. Confirmed by Oxford University. Once again, on the 10th of January, they have issued their study, or published their study. I have made a video on it, go back to it. And that's that. So let's get into it. I have my notes, you guys, and I'm going to walk you through it. So it's a holistic approach, and it's really looking at how do I want my employees to feel when we are attracting them, when we are hiring, during the hiring process, during the onboarding. How do we motivate / engage? We want to move away from the engagement part. And how do we want them to feel while they are performing, when we are managing their performance, while we are developing them about the development program and progress, and why they are leaving the organizations and once they are gone. It's very, very simple, right? How do we want them to feel? Now, in this toolkit that I developed is really have so many questions that helps organizations to brainstorm and to audit what they are doing. And in our research, or in our work with those 5 companies, and we have asked other companies as well, what we really found, these audits showed us that organizations are more concerned about their systems than their users, which are the employees. And so we reverse engineered everything. Okay, put the system aside, your policies, your procedures. What do we want the employees to feel when they go on our website and start thinking about to apply to our job? So when we stepped back, this is where we found ourselves with no answers, because nobody has ever taught us to think this way. So we created few questions and audit points and things that touch points, as we call it in guest experience. And this is what we came up with. So here it is. I think I have a hair. Thank you. So for attract, now the questions, these are the ones that, how do you want your candidates to feel about you when seeing you on social media? And here we give a couple of two to three answers. But really, the companies has to design these answers or have that or prepare that answers. So I want to work there for the money and for the brand. So maybe there are companies out there who want their employees or the candidates to feel when they are looking at their social media website, you know what? I want to work there for the money and for the brand. And that's okay. Some employees or companies wanted, and these are real examples that companies came up with, wanted their candidates to say, I want to be part of the experience. Now, when you say that, now you need to design your recruitment, everything accordingly. And when you are attracting people, it's very, very difficult, because then we are going to ask you questions. So these are the things that we ask them to think about, and based on that, design their employees' experience. So, for example, do you know what type of candidates you want to attract, and the candidates that you want to attract? What would they like to see from you? Nobody ever had this question. Nobody had the answer. So we went back to the whiteboard, literally, Okay, what do we want? You know, the type of people that we want to attract, what do they want to see from us? And you need to come up with the answer. Marketing. Do you have a unique value proposition? So these are very basic, right? But the question is really, why should people work for you? Is it the brand? Is it the money? Is it the flexibility? What is it that you have that others don't have? And here are the probing questions that we ask them. If you don't have something unique, what can you still appeal to and how? Or who can you still appeal to and how? Who is your target audience? Ask anybody in organizations, they don't bloody have a clue. So it's very hard, difficult to attract people when you don't know who to attract, right? It's basic marketing. Do you have an online presence set up where employees can leave reviews? How do you manage those, right? How do you as an organization view online feedback? As a threat or as showcasing your company? Because if you view it as a threat, you're not going to put a lot of effort into it, right? So then you have, obviously, the application process. Is the application easy and done within 4 clicks, right? Do you have the ability to market your proposition in a meaningful way? Do you have a marketing team that is helping you? Or are you just posting very basic, here is a recruitment template that is not really sexy, not very attractive. Nobody wants to apply to when you have to go through a whole system, create your account, upload your birth certificate and your fathers and mothers and all your, bloodlines, history. So these are the things that you have to think about because that impacts employees' experiences or candidate experiences. And obviously, how do you get back to the applicants? Do you get back to everybody? Do you close the system or you let the system be flooded by applications? So you ghost everyone. And now people think, you know what? I submitted an application. They didn't even respond with a rejection email. Or I had 2 interviews and they just sent me a system-generated rejection email, which is very despicable if you ask me, right? And here you are representing the company that you are doing, or that you are working for. So that's a poor candidate experience. Now, that's for attract, right? So those are some of the questions. Now, once again, I would like you guys to spread this news because what we want to do is really create a better employee experience for everybody. If you need this tool, message me, drop your message me on your below the link. I will put all the information and go on the website, send me an email, and I will send you the toolkit so you can work out by yourself. Now, in terms of hiring, how do you want the employees to feel about you during the hiring process? So one of the companies said that I want employees to say, I feel that they are professional, inviting, organized, transparent, and I really want to work here. Another company said, I want employees to say, I am feeling the experience already. So that was the company who said, I want them to work here. I want to work here for the experience. Then you had, I feel elated when I got the job and I feel very disappointed when I didn't. I felt very disappointed when I didn't. So when you design your employee experiences from attraction and your hiring process, when I get a job, I feel elated, super excited. Jesus, Lord, I got it. And it's not just, I got a new job, Or when I didn't get the job, I feel really disappointed because I had such a great experience. I really wanted to work for this company. So, and for internal candidates, as an internal candidate, I feel considered. So if you want internal candidates to feel considered for vacant roles, what do you need to do internally to make that happen? So you see what we do, same in the hospitality environment or customer service. How do I want the customer or guest to feel when they arrive? Fantastic. This is the feeling. This is the emotion. This is the impression. What do I need to do in order to achieve that? It's that simple. But the creative part is in the action, because this is where you make a difference. So here we ask questions. Do you have a talent database? Have you conducted a talent inventory? Do you have have the ability to identify internal candidates who can fill the role you are planning to hire for? Talent pool. Do you actively approach internal employees for suitable roles using your talent database? So if I want people to feel internal candidates considered, then I need to reach out to them. And it's not just a poster on your notice board that, oh, we are looking for new whatever. That's not approaching. That's the lazy way of doing it, okay? Database. Who are my internal employees who have the necessary skill, competencies, behavior, knowledge, etc., and probably ready. Let me go and speak to that person. Sometimes it's that simple. Referral programs. Do you have a referral program? How does it work? What is the percentage of your workforce that came through referrals? Hiring timeline. Do you have a clear timeline established for each step? Do you communicate that to the candidate? Interview structure. Do you have a clear interview structure? How many steps by seniority level, right? Who are the interviewers and what each interview should evaluate or assess for? So you don't have the scenario where first interview I was asked exactly the same questions as during the second and the third. That's a bad candidate experience, hiring experience, because now I cannot say to what you want me to make me feel that you are professional and organized, because now that's just chaotic. It's not professional, right? So then we ask questions about do you have appropriate interview question design? We are not talking about competency based questions. That's not what we looked at, because when we looked at that, it turned out that they create horrible candidate experiences. And obviously, hiring decision. Do you have a clear structure communicating the decision internally and to the employees? Employee rejection. Do you have a template when the employee declines the offer? How do you go back to the employees? Because this is where you guys go wrong. Oh, the employee declined the offer. Oh, the worst thing, I just wasted weeks, and you get upset and all that. But if you are very smart, like one of these companies, they created a template that it reflects the company image, still how we want you to feel during the attraction and the hiring process now. And it made the candidates doubt about the decision. Now, can you pull that off? Can you pull that off? That I reject your offer, but you send me an email that I actually start thinking about, ooh, they seem really good. They seem really professional, funky, whatever it is. Am I making the wrong decision going with that company just because they pay a little bit more? This is what you want. Now let's move on to onboarding, because that's my area of expertise, right? How do you want employees to feel about you during the onboarding process? Did I mention that today we're going to make this video half an hour because I want to give you all the information? Well, whatever I can. How do you want the employees to feel about you during the onboarding process? One of the companies said, I want them to say, I feel welcome, expected, and that they are prepared for my arrival. Remember this, because we never feel welcome, expected, and that you guys are prepared for our arrival. Sometimes we have employees joining, they don't even have a desk to sit at, and then we stand there, okay, I think she could just sit here, while we sort something out. Now that's a bad onboarding employee experience. That's not what you want. The other company said, I want them to feel that the company is modern or old school in their onboarding approach. So this company actually put it out there because they had a very old school structure, and they wanted themselves to allow them to themselves to decide Do they want to have just a little bit moderate, keep the old structure? Sometimes you can't make all the changes that you want. And the company who focuses on the experience, they said, I want them to say, I feel the experience that led me to submit my application. Jesus, that's difficult to deliver during onboarding. But when you think this way, now it's going to impact all your actions that you are going to do. Now, onboarding network, do you have identified, these were the questions that we asked them, do you have identified and trained organizational departmental trainers, mentors, or coaches? Do you have a clear structure of who is responsible for what during employees' onboarding process? So it's all about going back to structures. Digitalized onboarding, do you have digital tool to manage the onboarding and conduct induction? Can employees learn the way they would like to, or is the same boring mandatory process for all? Remember, there's no right or bad, wrong or good or bad. It's just what you want the employees to feel. It's an old school, very structured, very boring way. This is how I want you guys to feel. So I'm going to herd everybody into a 2-day, 1-day induction program. And we're gonna kill you with PowerPoint presentation. That's what you guys want? Fantastic. This will be the experience that you are giving to people. So it's really, there's no right or wrong what you want to give. Employee onboarding plan. Do you have an employee onboarding plan before arrival, 1 day, first week, first month, and 31 to 90 days? And it all breaks down for managers. Does the plan outline the required number of check-ins with their supervisors, departmental trainers, mentors, or coaching, review timings, information about the employee that helps customize their onboarding experience? Do you have an employee user manual from the employee where the employee is telling you, this is how I like to be managed, this is how I think the best, this is how I like to receive feedback, this is when I'm the most productive, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, this is where I can contribute the most, this is where probably not the best use of my talent, you should find somebody else, etc., etc. Very personalized approach. Management and leadership onboarding plan. Do you have a job-specific detailed onboarding plan for each role? And so on. And then it goes into, that's my background, so I kill them with onboarding plans for everybody. Do you have a specific build-on coaching or booster plan for each role? So this is during the onboarding 61 to 90 days, because the first 1 month we do different than the second and the third month. Checking conversations, timeline, what do you need to talk about, who needs to be there. End of onboarding and probation. Do you have a formal end to the onboarding probation period? What do we do? Do you just say that, hey, welcome or congratulations? Do you do something extra? Do you send an email confirmation in line with your EVP and brand, how you wanted them to make to feel, certificate or present to celebrate the successful onboarding? What do you do when people did not pass the probation? How do you still deliver that, you know what, I want you to feel that you messed it up because you had a fantastic chance in here. We are so cool, but you messed it up and now you missed your chance. And with each section, how do you measure new joiner experience? Do you have your survey? Do you have the survey to dig into their employees' experiences during their onboarding? How frequently do you send it? How do you use this information? Now, motivation. Remember, we are moving away from employee engagement because it's very different. Motivation is very difficult to manage, but this is what we need. How do you want employees to feel about being with you? Not engagement, being with you. One of them said, I want them to say, I feel motivated to do my work well. The other one said, I want them to say, I feel emotionally engaged and connected. So motivation is, I'm motivated to do the job. Engagement is emotional, which is very hard to impact. And the third one was, I want to stay for more experiences. So these were the experience guys. I love them so much. They are crazy. I don't even know how they're going to deliver all that, what they planned out, but they are fantastic. So questions, working conditions. So here we're going back to the basic motivational elements of organizations based on science. So these were this is how we set up the questions. Working conditions. Do you have data about your employees' satisfaction with their working condition, physical, mental, working hours, workload, overtime management, flexible policies? This is where well-being data collection comes into the picture immediately. You can't do it without that. Then, pay and benefits. Do you have data about your employees' satisfaction with their pay, benefits? Do they have financial worries? Do you provide any form of support? Does your pay structure motivate them to do a good job? And they had to answer to all these questions. But once again, well-being data give us, or surveys give us all that information. Training. Do you provide structured training to managers and leaders about employee motivation? We put these poor people in there, manage their team. And we never tell them how to do it. We talk about engagement, which is a big fluff of something, when we have scientific data and science-backed interventions about motivation. Why are we doing this? So, do you train them? Do you use scientific theories when designing employee interventions? Policies, rules, procedures. Are your policies, rules, and procedures in line with employees' evolving needs? And here we go into so much detail, and we ask them when they say yes. How? Tell me. And then we probe and probe and probe until they realize maybe we don't, maybe we do. And that's fantastic. But once again, going back to how do I want them to feel during, about being with us? Fairness at work. Do your employees think organizational policies, practices are fair? Relationship. Do you have good work relationships across teams, individuals? Leadership quality. Very important to employee motivation and engagement. Appropriate level of responsibilities. Do you measure if individuals are given the required level of responsibility? You probably don't. Recognition and reward. Do people feel that they are recognized and rewarded for their contribution, etc., etc.? Sense of achievement. Are your people set up to experience a sense of achievement? What if I ask you as a CEO this question? Let's have a coffee. And then we can have a chat about that. Measurement, as last part. Do you measure or classify motivation? How do you do that? What type of information or what type of motivation do you measure? Do you use that info when personalizing career development, benefits, packages, and other related areas? Let's jump on to performance. We have a little time left, but you know what? Maybe we're going to make it a little longer. Perform. How do you want employees to feel about the performance? One of them said, I want them to say, I clearly understand what is expected of me. That's the basic minimum, and this is where organizations already fail. We ask people, do you know what is expected of you? No, not really. I just come here, I do things that I was told or on the checklist, but that's that really. The second one said, my presence makes a difference. I want my people to feel that their presence makes a difference. Fantastic. What do I need to do in order to achieve this? I feel that I significantly contribute. What do I need to do in order to make you feel this way? So we go into expectation. Do your employees understand what is expected of them? Do your employees have clear team or individual goals related to their job? Do employees feel that they are paid attention to so they can perform the best? How? How do you know? What do you do? So don't just say yes. Attention. Do you have clear guidelines around managing performance daily? What does it look like? Do you have a structured performance management system? What does it look like? Do your supervisors, managers, and leaders understand how you want them to manage performance? Most of the time, we don't. We tell them, this is the performance management system. You run your annual appraisal, and then you get the rating, and we put you in a 9 or 12 box, and inshallah, something comes out of it by February. That's not what managers and supervisors need on the floor daily. Management is performance management employee owned. How does it work? Is performance management HR owned? Is performance management system designed to improve or measure performance? Is your performance management system is designed to improve or to measure performance? Probably to measure. Do you have a structure to support poor performers? I'm not talking about improvement plans. How do you measure, etc., etc. And obviously the last data, do you have a data on leavers during the probation period and termination due to performance? What do you do with that? How do you collect it, etc., etc. So when you really dive into these questions, you can kill HR and management with this. Develop. So this was performance management, not develop. We need to separate them always, always, always. How do you want your employees to feel about their development? One of the companies said, I want my people to feel or say, my development is taken care of by the organization, guided and led by my managers. The organization is in charge and it is competency based. So this is very important, you guys, because old school traditional companies, it's the development is taken care of by the organization, guided by the manager, and really it's competency based. So they tell you, here is it, Sylvia, these are the competencies you need to develop, and we're going to tell you which training development you need to undertake, and these will be your possible positions if you do that. We want to move away from it, okay? Let's just put it this way, but it's up to you. Sometimes we can't change it, right? Now, the second company said, my development is self-driven, but supported by the organization. So it's shared responsibility, because what you want to do is start building accountability and responsibility in people for their own development. I'm in charge. They provide resources. It is mostly based on my natural talent, as the organization recognizes individuals' unique talent in their strategy. So this is where strengths, personality, and other assessments comes into the picture. So it's not competency framework that completely ignores the individual. Is a mix of it. We have competencies, okay, that's what the company wants from you, but then the company is also open to look at what are the strengths, what is it in you that we can develop so we can achieve these competencies in the best possible way by building on your talent and strengths and managing around maybe your weaker areas. I really feel they see what I bring to the table. And the third one, you remember the experience, guys? My development is self-driven. I only receive the basics that allow me to do my job well. Now, these guys, they want fantastic experience, but they don't have a structure. It's a smaller company, 500 people. They don't have the structure. They don't have the money like large organizations for big, massive L&D structure. And they are very clear about it. And that's why I love them. So here you would say, oh, but they're not developing the employees. You don't have to. Your mandatory development is to make sure that they are developed and trained to do the job. And they are very open about it. Guys, we don't have the resources at this stage in the company. We want you to have the best experience, and that's where they compensate for it. Because guys are having fantastic experience, they are trained to do the job, and what they do, sometimes I help them with career coaching and, just advise them, these are the things that you can use in your L&D free of charge, or just with a little tiny investment to start building your L&D structure. But sometimes we don't have that, and that's okay as long as you are open about it. Now, what are the questions that we ask? Do you know what type of development your employees want, self-led or managed? How do you measure, etc., etc.? Do you have the talent database? We go back to it. Do you have structured development framework? Do you have flexibility in learning based on the unique needs, talents, and aspiration? Is the career path is already built, or the career path is can be designed based on the individual's unique needs. Do you have a mentoring, coaching structure? Is your development program competency based? Is it talent based, or is it customized? Are your development programs and training assigned? So people are being sent, or they can decide because you enable them, you treat them like adults, etc., etc. And this goes into talent movement. How do you have a supported career movement, etc., etc. A lot of questions in here. And how do you measure your employees' experiences regarding their development? So it's not that way you're happy with the training. That's the L&D manager who's never been exposed to professional qualification. That's what he or she would ask. That's not what we mean in here. And then the last part is the depart. And now we have 35 minutes, Jesus. So how do you want employees to feel when they are departing? One of them said, I want them to say and feel that I am a raving fan of this company. I'm going, but I love you guys. I will talk about you and I will send everybody here because you guys have fun. I'm just, that's life. We are moving on. And then the second one said, it is not a goodbye, but to probably see you again. That's what you want, right? So, what the questions that we ask, do you know what employees experience during and upon departure and what they think of the company? What is the treatment that they receive? Because we know that the moment we submit our resignation, we become enemy number one. So when we want employees to feel and depart that they are a raving fan, we can't do that. And I come back to it, how you involve HR people, the management, because it's not in your hand. You just design this and you train and you communicate. But this is in the hands, most of this question, in managers, leaders, supervisors. Do you conduct exit interview? How do you use this data? That's very generic. Do you have an employee experience recovery strategy in place? When I asked this question, everybody was like, what? What is that? What the hell is that? So in customer service, hospitality, when something goes wrong, we have a service recovery. Yay! How do we recover that customer? So if I am your employee and I'm leaving because of my stupid manager or whatever the reason, what is it that you have done to turn this around and make the departure kind of compensate for it? And I feel I leave not with bitter taste in my mouth. But you know what? Maybe say, you know what, guys, I'm just upset. Let me go. But in 3 months, I change my mind because of the last interaction. We know that it's not the first impression, it's the last impression that count. So, service recovery or employee experience recovery strategy. Departure, is your offboarding process designed with the employees in mind? How does it work? Is it quick? Is it as quick as it's possible? How do you measure the experience related to offboarding? Do you check in with the departed employees 2 to 4 weeks post farewell? The experience guys, they do that. I love them for this because they said, no, we need to check in with them. And here you can also do, especially when something went wrong in the employee's experience, that the exit interview is actually taking place 2 to 4 weeks later. Because now the people are out, they don't have that pressure, or what am I going to, what's going to happen? If I say something, they are not going to give me the final settlement or that. So let people go, and maybe in 2 to 4 weeks, you check in with them. How is the new job? What is everything according to your expectation? Just wanted to check in. Let's go through your exit interview as well, because now you had the time and space to breathe, so you reconsidered everything. Because especially when things go wrong in organizations during this leaving time, we are just fed up. We say things that we didn't really mean, I think it's the worst time of doing exit interviews. I think people should be like, okay, go, chill, contemplate, digest, go and experience the new place because the grass is not always greener. And then tell us your experience with us. So that was one of them. And obviously more questions, talent pool maintenance and all that. And then alumni community building. That's your talent pool, your future talent pool. You guys are missing out on so many things. And then how do you measure your employee satisfaction regards to their departure, etc., etc. Now, when you score these, it's not necessarily a score, but it's qualitative survey, right? But when you start scoring in terms of the measurement of each, this is, you can actually calculate your employee experience number. Instead of doing the stupid engagement surveys. Now, you guys, this is what it is. It's a crash course, and now we are way off time, but hey, I wanted to give this to you. If you want this tool, I can send it to you. Drop me an email. I will put the email address below. I will put all the other links. I will put the link for the corporate kindergarten. So you read it, because when this employee experience book comes out, you will be able to see the journey and how I figured things out. And how can we help with HR? Because we help HR to make this happen. We have 5 ways really. So here is the first one is giving you this toolkit, and you go and figure it out by yourself. You can use that. It will help you to brainstorm. Then we have 12 weeks of coaching with one-to-one with senior HR people to guide them through and help them through the process of designing the employee's experience and rip the system apart. What do we have? What do we want? What is it that needs to go? What is it that needs to stay? And what is it that needs to come in? So we help you with that process. If you have a bigger HR team, we can organize a full-day employee experience design workshop where we go through all this and we help you to brainstorm and figure out how to go forward with that, and then you can go back and make things happen. We can just consult, we can run your audit based on this toolkit, and then we come back with the finding, what you would like to have, establishing really, are you more employee experience focused or more focused and concerned about your processes, which we found last year. And if you don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you don't have the capacity, or you don't even know bloody what I'm talking about, then you can call us. And then with my well-being expert and my wellness expert colleagues, we come in, we collect data, and we come in for 3 to 6 months, and we design your employees' experiences. So I am working on this with a very first hotel company, which is a very first in terms of implementing employee experience, because this is a friend of mine, a very famous CEO, hotel CEO, who is well known about his luxury. He's the luxury guy. Everybody knows him in the industry. I can't say anything. And when he said, I'm stepping down as a CEO because I'm going to launch a new ultra luxury brand, which is going to be very different. I can't tell you anything about it. I said, hey, you cannot do that, because we have redesigned everything in the hotel industry, from the chandelier to the carpet to the chair, but we never redesigned employees' experiences, back of house. You cannot launch a new brand, we have enough of them, without actually tidying up the back of house, which is employee experiences. And he said, make it happen. So that was last year. I'm like, I'm making it happen. So I'm doing it for him, and hopefully, and he understands that, employee experience, guest experience design, we speak the same language. And so it's going to be launched this year for this particular company, and the other 5 companies that we have tested it, they are doing it, we are guiding them. So there's already 6 companies they are doing, and I really, really hope that this framework is going to resonate with you guys and start spreading the news, because we need to move away from fixing the people. We need to fix the system. It's much easier, because once you start your construction crew to start fixing employees, you are going to fail, because you can't just fix people the way you want them to be. but you can fix processes and systems how employees want them to be. You can't do everything, you won't be able to do everything, but start somewhere and involve your people. If you need help, let us know. We collect such a rich data that you will not be able to analyze all of that for the next 50 years. So that's from me today. Enjoy. I love this topic. Oh my God. I hope you saw that I'm in my elements when it comes to employee experience design. And you remember, there is no right or wrong employee experience. It's just employee experience. I don't have the answer. They have the answer, your employees. So let's work together, involve them, and create fantastic employee experiences. Give us a shout if you need it. Now it's way too long. Bye.